Hello and welcome to another video on Hotfix Era for the brush and bake system from Coleman & Company. What I'm going to do today is respond to a question that I got, as a matter of fact, just today about importing a bitmap file. A young lady in the Georgia area wants to be able to bring designs that she's already done into the software and turn them into rhinestones. So what I'm going to do is just do a little show of that. So I'm going to go over here to my image tab, and this is where I store, just like it says, all of the images, vector-based, bitmaps, what have you. And I basically just took this flower clip art, just copied and pasted it from a website online, strictly for demonstration purposes. And I'm just going to drag it over here onto our work area. And there it is. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And you can see up here, if you watch up in this corner, you'll see how big the image is. And you see it's 4 by 3. I can change that if I want to, just by going into layout and say I want this to be 3 inches. Okay, and it automatically changes that. So you can see we've got a lot going on here. There's 3 different colors. There's actually 4 if you include the white. So there's the white, 2 shades of blue, and the yellow center. I'm going to go up here to convert this to a vector file so we can turn it into rhinestones. And when I do that, I've got a couple things that are happening. I really don't want this separate light and dark blue area. Because we're using the brush and bake systems, 2 colors is great. 3 colors, you get a little bit more difficult over time, and they're going to be pressed in pretty closely. So I'm going to simplify this image a little bit. And I'm going to do that to reduce it down to just a few different sections. And for today's purposes, I'm just going to hit the filter button I already had set up. And you see it's got the yellow color, and it's got the 2 shades of the blue or aquamarine, and then it's got the white of the background. What I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to combine by holding the Shift key and clicking on both. I'm going to combine those 2 colors. And now you see I have a much simpler design. This is much more useful for a rhinestone design. Everything looks good. I'm going to hit Vectorize and then Return. And now I've got my shapes that I can work with. You can see I've got my center shape and my outside shape. So what I'm going to do first is I am going to work with my center shape. And you'll notice up here that it's set for fill. So I'm not doing any outlines. It's just going to fill in this circle. Okay, and I'm just going to convert it to Hotfix. And I can use any one of these patterns, but obviously this is a circle, so I'm going to use the radial pattern. And you see it's already set to SS10, which is the most popular stone size, so I'm going to leave it there. What I might do is I'm just going to change it to yellow, just so it looks good for these purposes. And up here you'll see I can turn off the vector or the hotfix buttons. If I turn off vector and hit the preview, I can see there are my yellow stones, which I really like. Turn back on vector so we can see the whole design, and I'm just going to select the outside now, and I'm going to go to Hotfix. I'm going to do the same thing, fill it, and I'm just going to leave the purple pre-selected. And I want you to take a look at something. As I turn off the vector, you can see all these overlapping rhinestones? Well, we definitely don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go up to Hotfix, and there's a little Hotfix conflicts button that is unique to the Hotfix Era software that just makes it really easy. So I'm going to just hit the little broom there, sweep, and see what it did? It cleaned up my design. So now I'm just going to zoom out, and I'm going to change my background color so you can see it a little bit better. And we'll just make it, I don't know, black-ish. Okay, there you go. And that's going to be my design. So remember, we started off with a flower and a bitmap, and we turned it into that design. So I'll just show you the before and after. There's the before, and there's the after. Okay, so for part 2 of our video on bringing in bitmaps or clip art files and turning them into rhinestone graphics, we're going to work with that same flower that we brought in last time. And this time I'm going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to select this center image and we're going to leave it the same. We're going to fill it with stones. Now remember, that's just the body. This is just the outline, and this would be both. So we're filling it with stones. I'm going to go up with 2 hotfix. You're already familiar with this. Fill the area with Hotfix. And there are my stones. Just going to change color to yellow so it looks more like the design. And all of these settings are still good. The spacing between the stones is still good. Everything is the same. For this outside part, this time I'm going to switch over from the fill, and I'm just going to select the outline button. So you'll see it just gives me these outline vector points. I'm just going to be dealing with that line. So this time when I convert it to Hotfix, choose Path, and now I'm just going to click out, and there is my path of Hotfix. So let me turn off the vector, and you can see how completely different it is. These are no longer filled like it was last time. Now we also see, of course, that we've got some of those conflicts again. See where the yellow and the amethyst stones are on top of each other. So I'm just going to select this just like last time. I'm going to go over to Hotfix, choose my conflicts tool, and sweep. And there you go. There's our flower Hotfix design, ready to go out to the brush and bake system. I hope that you have seen how simple it is to use the software from Sierra called Hotfix Era for the brush and bake system, and that you will consider it when you purchase your new Rhinestone system.
For the last part of this series on using bitmaps and Hotfix, I thought we'd take the next step and show you how to turn that flower we were working on into a two-color rhinestone transfer using sticky flock. So the nice thing about brush and bake is that you can select the sets of stones to send out to the plotter one right after the other. So what we did here was we sent out the yellow, the center of the flower first, and then we cut another piece with the outside of the flower. So we're going to show you how to make a two-color design here. The first thing that Darla's doing there is taking a piece of transfer paper, also called Hotfix tape, and she's adhering it to the end of a sticky flock workstation. And it's just important to get that to be a nice bond, because it's going to control the placement of your stones on the end result. So you're just going to stick that down, make sure it doesn't flop around, you don't get extra stones on it. And then what we're going to do is we are going to choose a citrine. The design was done in SS10, so these are Hotfix rhinestones, SS10, and the color is citrine, which is a nice shiny yellowish kind of color. And Darla is just going to brush in the stones. And like magic, most of the stones will actually go into the holes glue side down. And we've done this in real time, so you can see the actual process, as opposed to cutting back and forth and making it look like it takes only 2 seconds. It does take, maybe a minute if you are doing it regularly. And now what she's going to do is just fold over the Hotfix tape and press it down to make sure that we pick up all those stones. Now this would be a fairly dull, just circle transfer, but that's what you've got so far. Now here's another neat thing about sticky flock is that it's stackable. So because I can move these things around so easily, I'm just going to now take the outside of the flower and overlay it right on top. And this ensures that you get exactly the right margins. And also notice the sticky flock's the same size, and that's because we cut out a border around the design when we sent it out to the plotter. Okay, so now we're dealing with the Hotfix Cobalt SS10. So we're going to get a yellow and blue flower at the end. And you can see she's just kind of brushing the stones in and they fall into place. There are more stones in this design, so it just takes another second. And of course, the more you practice, the better you get. And Darla's done a total of maybe 10 or 15 of these, so you're getting a real-time look at kind of a quasi-beginner. And what she's doing now is just basically brushing back the stones into the holes. And what you're seeing is a couple things that you get in the kit. You get a workstation, which is the pink sticky flock backer board that we're using. You get a roll of sticky flock that you can use. You get transfer tape. And you get rhinestones. So really, you've got enough to get started. You can at least do some transfers. You get the software. It's what you need to get going. And then, once you decide what colors you like and what colors your customers like, you can do that. Now remember, this all started with that flower bitmap. And you just want to make sure you get all the loose rhinestones out of the way. And one thing you'll notice is, there may be a stone missing, there may be an extra stone in there. All those are things that you can correct. Now she's just going to lay it over the top. Look at how nicely that lines up. Now she's just going to press, and you can use a little foam roller if you want to. Most people just do it by hand. And then you're going to gently kind of peel up the transfer tape again. And we're missing a stone. And she's just going to press that back in. So once you've done this, you're just going to pick up the entire design, and you're going to put it down on the backing of that transfer tape that you took this piece off of. Or of course you can move it right over to a t-shirt if you're ready to press. But if not, then what you've got is a great little flower rhinestone transfer from a bitmap file. So thanks. Appreciate your time. I hope you enjoyed this demonstration of the system, and that you go to www.colemanandcompany.com to learn more.